Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is said to have many different revelations as well as saga-wide implications in this story that will change our entire view of the Skywalker saga. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that by far, one of the most mysterious characters in the sequel trilogy has got to be Supreme Leader Snoke. Ever since his appearance debuted back in December of 2015 in The Force Awakens, and after, of course, there being no explanation of Snoke's backstory in The Last Jedi, it left a lot of people very curious as to exactly who is Supreme Leader Snoke. Now, thankfully, in Episode 9, we will be learning more about Snoke's backstory and the origins of the First Order. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the concept art descriptions, this is where things begin to get very exciting for Snokes Apprentice in The Rise of Skywalker. Now, specifically, a description of Kylo Ren and his Knights of Ren inspecting an abandoned First Order base that was said to be the planned headquarters by Supreme Leader Snoke. It's described that Kylo and the Knights eventually go into Snoke's abandoned throne room, which contains many of his relics that were left behind, one of which includes an artifact that once belonged to Snokes Apprentice, before Kylo Ren that is described to be a lightsaber. One of the descriptions involves Kylo Ren examining the lightsaber that is said to date back 1,000 years ago, where a diagram of the saber is dubbed as Dante Azoro's lightsaber. The design of the saber is said to have gold trims to it, where a majority of it is silver with a black grip that was handed down from Snoke to Dante during the infancy of the First Order. The saber is said to be inactive and no longer works. For some reason, however, Kylo keeps it for himself as an artifact of his own. So I want to go over this character that a lot of people have been asking about. A lot of people have been wondering about this character for the longest time. In case you guys did not know, thanks to The Last Jedi novelization, we do learn that there was at least one apprentice before Kylo Ren. And what's really intriguing about all of this is that the lightsaber that once belonged to, of course, Snoke's Apprentice is actually described to be Dante Azoro's lightsaber. So basically Dante, as it's spelled D-A-N-T-E, and the last name being Azoro, U-Z-A-R-U, of course, S. So Azoro's lightsaber is a very interesting aspect of Episode 9 because we do know that this is going to be used as a way by J.J. Abrams in order to really implement a big piece of Sith lore that is actually going to be a part of Episode 9. And that's the biggest question of all now, isn't it? We do know that now Snoke is at least almost 1,000 years old, as confirmed by Andy Serkis himself. I don't know if you guys knew this, but Andy Serkis confirmed this not too long ago, that Snoke is close to 1,000 years old. And since this lightsaber is 1,000 years old and was eventually handed down from Snoke to Dante, it really makes one wonder exactly whether or not Dante Azoro was an actual Sith, or was just a regular dark side user, very much like Kylo Ren in, of course, the sequel trilogy. Now, it really does bring up another question. Was this the only apprentice before Kylo Ren? Did Snoke have more than one apprentice before Kylo, or was he the only one before Kylo Ren turned to the dark side? Now, like I say, we do know that Snoke lived up to becoming a master, pretty much, ruling over another apprentice and becoming a Palpatine-like figure. And we also know that this movie by JJ is going to answer a lot of those questions related to Snoke's backstory, the infancy of the First Order, the origins of everything related to that, and exactly how everything really came into play here for the sequel trilogy. So, ever since a lot of fans, including myself, read The Last Jedi novelization just to learn a little bit more about the story and to actually hear more interesting aspects of, the actual story that was not even put into the movie itself, which was really mind-boggling to me because a lot of things in the novelization, in a strange way, are a lot more interesting than what was inserted into the actual movie. And in there, we do learn that there was an apprentice before Supreme Leader Snoke, and that character is actually named Dante Azoro. Now, what I like about all of this is that it's a very unique name. I'm not quite sure how I feel about the name. It's kind of like Star Wars-y, but at the same time, it sounds like a real world type of name, in which it is. Same thing as Luke. But when we look at episode 9 here, we do know that they are trying to really dig deep, or dive deep, I should say, into really answering a lot of the mysterious aspects of the era in between the originals and the sequels that the fans are very, pretty much, not informed on. A lot of fans really want to know more about exactly what happened before the First Order was even the thing, and exactly what Snoke was like before the First Order, and exactly who his apprentice really was. Now, this apprentice being called Dante Azaru, how Kylo Ren comes across the abandoned lightsaber that no longer works, he eventually keeps this as a trophy, or an artifact, if you will. Very similar to what Darth Vader did in Legends, where he basically took all these different artifacts and kept them in his castle. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again.